kicking down doors and looking for trouble. And we get to do it as the Mighty Nein? That's right, it's Munchkin Critical Role from the Opp and Steve Jackson games. In Munchkin Critical Role, 3 to 6 players take on the role of heroes from the Mighty Nein. By kicking down doors, looking for trouble, and searching for loot, players will scour the realms for treasure, fame, and experience points. The first player to hit level 10 by defeating a monster wins the game. Setup begins with character selection. Randomly deal 1 character card to each player. Character cards contain their name, art, ability, and level chart 1 through 10. Place a level disc over level 1 on each character. Next, separately shuffle the treasure deck and the door deck. Then deal 4 cards from each deck to each player, who then take them into their hand. The decks then go next to each other in the center of the table with room for separate discard piles. Before the game begins, players should consult their hand and add to their personal play area any cards that may aid them in their quests. These include roll and drive cards, guest stars, or items. Cards in a player's play area are considered active and cannot be returned to their hand. Once all players have set up their beginning assets, roll the 20-sided die to see who goes first. Gameplay occurs in turns, each divided into 3 phases. Kick open the door, look or loot, and charity. First up, in the kick open the door phase, the active player draws and reveals the top card from the door deck. Let's look at some of the cards that could be revealed. A monster. The active player must now battle this monster and resolve combat rules. More on those in a sec. They will skip the look or loot phase this turn. A curse. The active player takes the penalty listed and either discards it or places it in their play area depending on the text. If a curse is drawn at another point in the game, a player may keep it in their hand and play it on another player at any time. Evil move, but I like it. A roll or drive card. Roles in Munchkin Critical Role include rogue, fighter, priest, and mage, and they each come with a special ability. The active player may take it into their hand to play later or put in their personal play area immediately to gain its benefits. Drives provide a motivation and follow the same rules as roles. They include freedom, protection, vengeance, or redemption. Other cards, including monster enhancers, critical role, and driven, alter the gameplay rules in fun and dangerous ways. Follow the card's instructions when revealed. Next, in the look or loot phase, if a player didn't fight a monster in combat, they may choose one of the following options. Either look for trouble by playing a monster card from their hand and immediately fighting it, just as if they've encountered a monster in the kick down the door phase, or they may loot the room and draw another card from the door deck, but this time they have the option of not playing the card immediately and instead keeping it in their hand to play later. Finally, in the charity phase, if the active player has more than 5 cards in their hand, they must either play or discard cards until they are at or under this hand limit. Some options for playing cards include giving other players curses, placing items to their personal play area, or even selling items from their hand. Once the charity phase is complete, the next player's turn begins. Let's look at some of the important mechanics of the game. When resolving combat with the monster, players compare the monster's combat strength with their own combat strength, augmented by any abilities or cards in their play area. A player's combat strength is their level, plus any bonuses from roll abilities, items, guest stars, or any penalties from curses. A monster's combat strength is its level, plus or minus modifiers from powers or cards in play. In combat, the active player always has the option of asking for help by offering some of the treasure rewards if they can defeat the monster, or even cards from their hands. Only one player can accept the offer, and once they do, they add their combat strength, along with any cards they play, to the active player's total. After tallying the scores, if the monster's strength equals or exceeds the player's strength, that player loses the combat and must run away. When running away, the active player rolls a d6. If they get a 5 or 6, they escape without harm, but don't get a chance to level up or gain treasure. If the player rolls a 1 through 4, bad stuff happens, as listed on the monster's card. This can vary from losing an item, losing some levels, or even death. But if the player's combat strength exceeds the monster's at the end of the tally, they defeat the monster. They gain 1 level per monster. Some monsters may provide more, read your text. And they can draw a number of treasure cards as listed on the monster card. When another player is helping, the outcome of the fight now affects both players, including if they have to run away. They both must roll the die for their own outcome. If they can defeat the monster, the rewards from the treasure deck are drawn face up and selected by each player according to the deal they made. You gotta hold on to those deals. No take backsies. During combat, other players may play cards out of turn in order to affect the strengths of the fighters or the outcome of the fight. The player who played the card chooses the target of these cards, either another player or maybe even the monster or monsters plural, because cards like Wandering Monster allow more foes to join the fight. Some other key concepts. Items have an equip icon and a value along with their benefit. The equip icon shows its type, which has an equip limit. 1 of each headgear, armor, and footgear. For hands, either a single 2-handed item or up to 2 1-handed items. Notably, players can sell their items on their turn. If they can discard items worth at least 1,000 gold pieces, they immediately gain 1 level. They don't get change for this cost, so purchase levels wisely. Additionally, this level can't be gained if it's the 10th and final level. Guest star. Each player can only have 1 active guest star accompany their character in the game. Guest stars provide ongoing benefits and abilities. If a player ever wishes to play a new guest star, they must discard their current one first. Because there's only 1 guest star spot per week. I mean, everybody knows that. Players can also trade items with other players, but only items that are on their play areas, not from their hands. Players can trade at any time, except if they are in combat. Death is not the end of the game. If a character dies, they lose all cards in their play area and hand except their rolls, drives, and current level. The dead character may choose a new character card to play or retry their current character card. The other players get to loot the body. In order of the highest level, they get to choose one of the discarded cards to keep for themselves. This player is temporarily removed from the game, but at the start of their next turn, the newly reborn player gets to draw 4 new cards face down from each deck and re-enter play. The game ends once a player has reached level 10 by defeating a monster, or if they complete a specific winning objective stated by a card. Players can never force another player to help them reach level 10. Once a player hits that max level, they win the game. Like all Munchkin variants, Munchkin Critical Role has a few optional rules, including a boss monster victory variant, incorporating a d20 roll to every fight, and fast play rules. Check the rulebook for more details. And that's how to game. I'm Becca Scott, this is Good Time Society, and if you like this video, just wait till you see what's on the rest of the channel. Hit that like and subscribe button, and join our Discord to come say hi. We don't bite, unless that's your thing. We'll see you around.